Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phil, the Conquistadork. This evening we are going to be playing a brand new game from Ripstone called Ironcast. This is an interesting puzzle match 3 style game. It's got a little bit of your puzzle quest aspects to it. It's got a little bit of your FTL. And it's got some of your steampunk aesthetic thrown in just to make for the holy triumvirate that'll make nerds across America shit themselves with glee. It's an interesting combination. Took me off guard. It's not as simple a game as I thought it was initially. Let's get into it. Let's take a look. We'll go through a few of the first battles and we'll see how it goes. So, one of the first things you'll notice is the global unlock progress. A lot like a lot of FTL games you've played, roguelike games. You're going to die a lot in this game. Never fear, because they've got your global unlock progress, which is going to cover your overall gaming. I put some time into this, so I'm at level 29 at this point. Every time you level up, you unlock different either inherent abilities, which will just stack with any game you play, or different abilities that you can unlock in the game itself. Different weapons or special powers. So let's start a new game. As I suggested before, you're going to unlock different things, and the characters are one of them. You start out with your Ares Powell character here, and then you can unlock different characters with different special abilities, strengths and weaknesses, nothing you've never seen before. But we're going to stick with Miss Ares Powell here. And just like the characters, you're actually also going to be unlocking different Ironcasts. That's what they call them. They're mechs. Let's face facts. As you can see, we got a nice steampunk aesthetic. You got everything from your big and heavy and clunky to your smaller and faster and shootier. We're going to start with the Dunraven. Again, for simplicity's sake, this is your starter. I actually prefer it. Your middle ground kind of thing. Background of the story is that you are dealing with England and France in the Victorian age, duking it out, so to speak, using their Ironcast abilities. You start out here in the hangar. Using the workshop, you can use different blueprints that you'll find along the way to upgrade your mech. Scrap that you're going to be using to upgrade your mech. And war assets, which is another currency you'll be using, which is essentially it's currency you'll put towards lowering the hit points of the final boss. So let's start here. Now, as you can see, we got a number of days left here, 9 days. This is our big Frenchy boss man, who's going to be slowly making his way into the heart of England. In those 9 days, you're going to be fighting smaller battles, upgrading your Ironcast, and hopefully getting to a point where you can take this fucker out. And you got your choice each day of which fight you're going to do. Early on, I tend to go for the scrap reward more than anything else. That's what you want. 535, 565, 540. Early on, you're going to see a bigger return on scrap. Later on, you might be more interested in leveling up, but so far, this is what's worked for me. I like the fact that the Dunraven looks like a giant camera with guns attached to it. Storyline's pretty standard. You're gonna be, yeah, your old boss is dead. It's me. And what, let's face it, that's me in about 30, 40 years. Etc., etc. Okay, looks familiar? It should. This is basically what you're dealing with. Now, each Ironcast has an inherent ability. I love this one. Little cheap shot before we even get started doing anything. As you can see, just like an FTL, your first turn, your weapon's going to be charging. You can't shoot right out the gate. So, you've got your 3 bars, or I'm sorry, your 4 bars here. First one, purple, your ammunition, which feeds into your weapons. You got 2 different weapon types here. Second bar, that is your energy. That's for your defensive capabilities, which is your damage reduction, your shields, and your drives, which is your movement. which is essentially your dodge ability, the chance you have of evading attack. The third bar is your coolant. I like this one. This is interesting. It keeps things stressful. You start out full bar on the coolant, and as you use different weapons and defensive capabilities, as you can see, they have a coolant cost as well. And if you continue using these attacks and defense abilities, when you are out of coolant, you will start taking damage. And in these earlier levels, that doesn't make as big of a difference because, you know, you're going to be doing they go pretty quick, especially as you built up a global rank. This is not going to be as much of a challenge, but later on, the coolant really, really comes into play. And finally, on the fourth bar here, we've got repairs. And that's these green fellas. As you can see, each weapon and defensive capability has its own little health bar, and that's because as your enemy is firing at you, he can choose what system he's going to fire at specifically. And if any of these bars gets down to 0, guess what? Means you can't use it anymore. But good news, we can do the same to him. So, let's start off. Build up some defenses to begin with, because that's one of the only things I can do. Now, you may have noticed I could have gone further with that combo. Those are match 3 rules, but the fact of the matter is it would have been a waste because my energy bar maxes out at 8, so you'll pay attention to that kind of thing. Putting up some shields. Let's get a little more defense. Start walking. So as you can see, I've upped my armor to its maximum amount, so I got 40 damage reduction, and I've gone to the point where my evasion is 10% chance. So 1 out of 10 shots, statistically speaking, will miss me. Let's go ahead and load up the ammo for next turn. And that's it. I got my 3 turns to use. Now Mr. Clunky here gets to shoot at my white ass. Well, apparently he's not going to do that. Now, their advantage, obviously, they get to shoot at you. So it's interesting that he went ahead and just defensed up. Now, shields aren't that high, but I still want to take him out. The difference between the different weapons here is important. You start out with a light cannon, which is several light shots, and a singular heavy shot with an energy lance here. And it's a good idea to have one of both, because when the shields are up, you want to focus on this so you can get past that damage reduction. When the shields are down, actually, it often behooves you to do the little pinger shots. He's got his shields up, aim for his defenses. Let go. All right. Put his shields down. Defenses are down to 0, so he's going to repair those next turn. And he's got the 2 weapons. I like focusing because my defenses are higher. It makes more sense to try and knock out that missile launcher if I get a chance, of course. Let's get some defenses going here. Your defenses degrade over time, so you're going to be constantly upgrading and maintaining those. Let's get some nasty little shots in. Ooh. Ah, see, his evasion's up high, so maybe it still is a good idea to... No. Evasion's up high, so I still want to plug away at him. As you can see, my systems are overheating here, but it doesn't matter, because the dead don't give a shit about antifreeze. Alright. Killed that bastard. The storyline is adequate, it's fine. I find the characters to be way more interesting than the story itself. Alright, get my scrap. Alright, leveled up. So, you're going to level up. Each time, your health increases here, and you get to pick some augmentations, some different abilities. And these are all actually really good here. 10% chance of firing an additional shot with the attached weapon. Excellent. Damage boosted by 10% if the attached weapon is fired while the ammo bar is full. Also excellent. Hull instantly repaired 50 HP. That sounds great, and it is if your global rank is lower, but I keep thinking that I want that, and I just don't need it as much as I think I do. I think I'm going to go with this guy here, because I tend to shoot when my ammo is full, so that helps. Now here's some blueprints I've recovered. And when I have enough scrap, I'll be able to invest in those and upgrade my Ironcast. Okay. Let's take a look at some of these blueprints here. Dense shields, Mark II, as you can see. A hell of a lot better than the ones I got. Unfortunately, I don't have enough scrap to build them. Next turn, though. Frankly, I've never seen a blueprint that costs less than $750 to build, so let's go ahead and up the repairs and move on to day 2. Now, you got your medium missions. Those are in orange. And then occasionally they'll throw a hard mission at you, which isn't... You might notice it's 555 scrap, for example, and 560 scrap for this one, as opposed to the 690 for the hard challenge. Early on, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze, because you're gonna get... You can beat them, but you're gonna get hit extra hard, and so you're going to... Any amount of scrap that you earn from fighting in a hard mission, it's just gonna go right back into repairing your Ironcast, at least early on. So I don't find it to be worth it. Let's do another battle. Nice Art Deco, poor man's Bioshock art direction here. Actually, the art direction, they did do a good job with the characters themselves. I wish there was a little more customized, customizability? Is that a word? I wish there was more of that in the Ironcasts themselves. Maybe something they can build on later as the time goes on. Right now we're just talking about the last boss guy. Okay. Let's give it another go. So, shields are full. Evasion's not great, but I'm not particularly worried about that just yet. Okay. Taking some hits, but nothing we can't handle. Am I right? Of course I'm right. Let's knock out them shields. Alright, down they go. And that heavy cannon he's been firing at us is a royal pain in the ass, so we might want to focus on that. Now, one of the other icons here, these gold ones, that's scrap. It's just extra scrap that goes towards you at the end of the game, or the end of the level, rather. It's a good idea to get if you get a chance, but not necessary at this point. I'm picking up the repairs. I don't need them all that much, but I don't know about your game, but I find that they clutter the hell out of my screen. So sometimes I'll use one of my turns just to get rid of all of the extra shit cluttering the screen. Okay. Shots in here. Yeah, let's focus on that if you can. Not enough to take it out, I don't think. Nope, close. No cigar. And if there was any 3 matches for the ammo, I would take it, because that would be a good idea at this point, but it's not the case. And I gotta say, the scrap here is tempting, but I'm gonna go with the coolant, because you may have noticed I'm down to 6, which is gonna sneak up on me. And next turn, look at that. Look at that nice little combo of extra scrap I set up for myself next turn. Good God, I'm a genius. Okay, so pick up some ammo. This isn't gonna kill him, but let's see. Ah, the bastard repaired his heavy cannon. Okay. Fuck, shoot him again. Still hanging on by a thread. Alright, so we've knocked out his heavy cannon. Focus on that other shotgun blunderbuss style thing he's got. And pick up some scrap while we're at it. There we go. More ammunition. And this should be the one that does. Alright, one more dead Ironcast. Now, I've mentioned before that this game is hard. I don't want you to get the wrong impression by watching me skim through this. This is actually, it's looking easy because I've actually invested a fair amount of time into this game. And therefore, my global rank's gone up. My abilities have gone up. It makes it easier. You're going to do that too if you are interested in this and spend any significant amount of time. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's great. Alright, general... That's another one that seems great, and early on maybe it is, but it's not as good as you'd think. I like this. Here we go. Shield protection value increased by 15%. Hell yeah. Okay. Moving along. Ah, rare blueprint. That'll make me move fast. Alright, let's do one more, and then we'll talk about the game itself. Ultimately, what I think here. Cannon. That's a nice little piece of equipment. I don't know. We'll go ahead and use the rare drive here. 21% versus... Actually, that's not great. Although, the big advantage to this is that it only uses one coolant as opposed to two, which actually, you know what? On second thought, that to me is worth it. I haven't really found any upgrades that are just kicking my ass with their badassery. But fuck it, we gotta do what we gotta do. And you know what? Let's take a look at this. It's a challenging battle. Alright, we've been doing nothing but battles so far. I want to show you one of the other options. Here in Fleet, we're gonna do a survival battle. Now this is not as... In a survival battle, as the name suggests, you're trying to survive. It's not as important to kill your Ironcast enemy. In fact... It's way not important because the moment you kill him, they'll just replace him with another one. Which sucks. So basically, you've just got to survive for 6 turns. So you're way more on the defensive, but you'll find yourself plugging away at this guy anyway. If only to shut his guns down, that kind of thing. Now here we've got a little linky icon, which basically means that I can link this guy to another combo. And those can be really great as time goes on. You can really take advantage of those. Alright, we're moving at full speed. 21% evasion, so 1 out of 5 shots, roughly, should miss us. A little armor never hurt anybody either. God, look at the ammo on the board. You're doing well for that. Okay. Shields. Alright. So we gotta survive 6 turns. I think we can do it. Hell yeah. Oh, you fucker. Yeah, that didn't really do much either. The missiles are pretty cool. I actually really dig those because not only do they do massive damage to the original target, they do splash damage to the other systems as well, which is great until you come upon a mission where your goal is to take out your enemy without damaging another one of his systems. Sometimes the shield, sometimes the drive, sometimes one of the weapons. And that's one of those times, and you will run into those, and that's one of those times that splash damage is counterproductive. Let's call it that. I know I said that the focus wasn't on killing your enemy, and that's true, but you do get some bonuses for doing it. And this is fine early on. Later on, as the game continues, it's not as good an idea to barrel into the fight like this. You might want to just up your defenses and hide a little bit, try to take out their weapons specifically. Because when you kill this, like I said, they just replace him with another guy, which isn't a big deal here, but later on, they replace one really hard guy that you worked your ass off to decimate with another guy that you're just going to end up working your ass off to decimate. That's not great, because you're just out of ammo and coolant and all that shit at this point. See, I could do another raise of the defense here, but the coolant... let me do it just to show you what happens. We're out of coolant. I hit raise. Boom! I think it's 10% damage. It's not cheap. Actually really fucking sucks, especially later on. Wow, okay. That's all he had to offer. I get the impression this guy has accepted his fate. He's ready to die. Let's give him his wish. Move on to the next poor bastard. So, down he goes. Ah, but we are not done yet. They're just gonna send me another little bastard to fight for another 4 rounds. Now, I do get some more turns to build up my stuff, but you can see where later on, as the enemies get stronger, that's gonna become a pretty precarious position to find yourself in. So, later on down the line, it's a good idea to be a little more diplomatic with your approach with these guys. So, up the defense. Here we go. See, my instincts to make as high a combo as possible kick in, and gotta fight against the just a waste. Now you might find special abilities or augmentations that will actually you want to do higher combos, but right now I'm not exactly in that position. Not as particularly concerned about it. Yeah, setting up a nice little scrap bonus for me on the next round. Bears. Shoot him in his big dumb face one more time. Fuck. Okay. Great. Alright, I guess he just... yeah, he spent that time preparing. Now, one of the things you'll notice that bothers me is we get full access here to the set of the hit points of his systems. We get the full information on his coolant setup, and we get the full information on his general hull points, the armor, and his evasion. But what we don't get a look at is his ammunition, his energy, and his repair bar, which doesn't sound like a big deal until you consider that some of the abilities involve draining from his repair, coolant, defense, and ammunition bars and applying it to yours, which is great in and of itself, but it limits you in your strategy. If you look over and find out that he's really counting on some ammunition for his next shot, or defense for his next shot, or something like that, draining him at that point could not only be advantageous to you, it could fuck him over. So that's one of those things that I'd like to see more of. It's not a massive point, but it's something that I've noticed on more than one occasion over the course of playing this game. That bugs me a little bit. Irks me, if you will. A little overdrive icon there, which basically just makes your offensives more offensive, your defenses more defensy, that kind of thing. Let's take out this. Got 2 more turns to survive. I'm making a quiet bet with myself that I can fuck this guy over. Have 3 of them dead. Time for my very wonderful survival. My coolant's completely fucked, and I am low enough on hull points that it's not a good idea to shoot again. yeah, the little multi-shots against the shield. Not a great strategy. Alright, got a little coolant. Ruin his day. Oh yeah, look at that. His evasion is way high, 30%, so almost 1 out of 3 of my shots are going to miss this fucker. Which sucks. Get my defenses up, because he's got one more chance to shoot at me. I don't think I can kill him, and frankly, it's not even a good idea to do it at this point, I don't think, but fuck it. Oh, look at that! Oh, the cocksucker's hanging on by a thread. Look at that. You little bastard. Doesn't matter. Well, it does, though, because, oh, holy shit. I literally had 17 hull points left. If he had just shot at me one more time, statistically speaking, I would have lost that round. But he chose not to, which, let's face facts, I'm fine with. So... oh, one more level. Oh, so close to the next one. I'm gonna just try. There we go. Make me a little faster. Okay, so generally that's Ironcast in a nutshell. So what do I think? Well, it's an addictive game. I will absolutely give them that. It is easy. Just sit down for several hours, turn on some music or an audiobook, which is what I've been doing in my case. Just play a cool audiobook, maybe some Warhammer 40K or something like that in the background, and just play. It's like many puzzle games in that sense. You can really, they can really devour your time. Now, does it bring anything new to play? No, not really. Like I said before, this is essentially your Puzzle Quest, FTL, steampunk clone. There's nothing about any of that that is original in any way. Not at all. But you know what? That's okay. As long as you know what you are and what you're doing. As long as you know what you're bringing to the table. Shadow of Mordor was essentially Assassin's Creed with The Hobbit mixed in, with fucking, totally blanking. What was the other one? Oh, fucking Arkham. Any of the Arkham games. Now, the Nemesis engine, now that's what really made it shine and made it stand out, turned it into something truly special. But the fact of the matter was that 90% of that game really wasn't anything new, and it was still a splendid game. One of the best of 2014, bar none. So, am I saying this is one of the best games of 2015? No, fuck that. No. But it's a lot of fun. And if you're interested in match 3s that have some complexity and some genuine difficulty to them, you could do a hell of a lot worse than picking up a copy of this. It's something I've devoted at least a dozen hours to, if not more. I actually think it might be almost twice that. It's just, it's one of those puzzle games that'll genuinely devour your time. I'd like to see some more bells and whistles, a little more customizability, if you will, on the mechs themselves, maybe a few more characters, that kind of thing. But frankly, I'm not even one to talk because it's a hard enough game that I've barely gotten far enough to really delve too deep into the extra characters. So, now that might have more to do with my inability with match 3s, but the fact remains that it's a fun, engaging game. It could do a hell of a lot worse if you're interested in something to while away the hours while you listen to some badass heavy metal, or maybe the latest Salman Rushdie audiobook. So, that's pretty much how I stand on it. You can read the full review at conquistadork.net, or follow me on Twitter at LConquistadork, E-L, Conquistador with a K, Conquistadork. What amazingly clever pen names we come up for ourselves on the interwebs. In the meantime, have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful morning, drink yourself some more wine, enjoy your lives. Good night.